I'm super excited to have this conversation with you.
Must be why you found that spot.
Yeah. So, the morning is the most wonderful time for me.
Less resistance in the morning than later because you have less things show up that you can worry about.
I love to meditate.
Yeah.
I read. I listen to you. It's magical. I love it. I want to talk about focus. I want to talk about...
we want to talk about diffused focus.
About conditional and unconditional focus.
We want to talk about unconditional focus.
Got it. That's great. So what I was doing, and I'm so glad, what I was doing is in any moment, I was just trying to think of what's great going on. If I was washing my hands, I was thinking, oh, isn't it nice that there's, this fresh water I can use, or this nice smelling soap. So I was looking at the condition and what I could appreciate out of it. And I was getting something out of that.
Sure.
But then I heard you talk about unconditional focus and focusing on feelings, so that way you don't have to have the conditions. So then I thought, oh no, I must be doing something wrong.
Well, let's not get all wadded up in this. Step back just a little bit. And if we're first meeting you and you don't have a basis of understanding about the laws of the universe yet, and you're not really aware of your inner being and what your emotions tell you, and so you're sort of new to this idea of deliberate creation, and you have been sort of raised by the wolves of your society. We just like saying raised by wolves, but where you're used to pushing against things and all of that sort of thing. Then in our beginning conversations, we would talk to you about the value of positive thought and the value of looking for things to appreciate, and we would show you how much better you might feel. But in many ways, our friend who was talking about triage, in many ways there's a little bit in those early stages not getting a lot done other than showing you that you can feel better having this thought than this thought, and better having this thought than this thought, and better having this thought than this thought. But once you accept the bigness of who you are, and once you understand that you are an extension of source energy, and once you understand that you are on the leading edge and that you are a prime participant in the creating of worlds, and once you begin to feel the bigness of all of this energy, then we want to talk about the tapping into the energy before you find the subject of attention. And when you tap into that kind of energy, you're usually not so interested in thinking about washing your hands. There are bigger thoughts, and that's what you're beginning to feel. You're starting to feel the value in the energy itself, and then letting the inspiration to the subjects at hand being inspired to you. So it's the difference between thinking a thought so that I can be in the vortex. Over time, this is the evolution of our conversation with so many of you. We said, you create your own reality, and you said, yeah. And then you said, oh good. And then you said, yikes, I create my own reality. And then we said, let's talk about deliberate creation. And you said, yes, I want to be in control, deliberate creation. And then you got so involved in your deliberate creation that you stopped having fun with it. So then we said, yes, you are a deliberate creator, and the laws of the universe abound, and law of attraction is what manages it all. But rather than thinking so hard about being a deliberate creator, understand that the contrast has caused you to create a magnificent vibrational reality, and now your work is to let yourself receive what you've created. So we put the emphasis upon being in a vibrational place where you could receive or allow. The art of allowing, we called that phase of the evolution. And then we began wanting to emphasize with you, because most of you didn't see it, that you're creating a vibrational world that for the most part you are holding yourself apart from. It's a vibrational world that exists, but you can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it, and so you're taking no pleasure from it. But if you could accept its existence and notice the subtle evolution of it, then you could enjoy the evolution of your creations, just like the farmer takes pleasure in knowing the seed in the ground is germinating and gestating and is in the process of becoming, and doesn't need to see the stalk of corn or the ear of corn before he takes pleasure in the field that he has planted. So You're coming along with us. In other words, you're understanding more of these things, and not hard to understand things. And then we began saying to you that there's this magnificent creation that you have created, and that in fact is you, because you are the creator, creating the creation, which is you. And we began saying things like, but you got to get in the vortex. You got to be a vibrational match to what you want in order for it to manifest in a way that you can feel satisfaction. And then we began explaining to you that satisfaction comes only from having a desire and moving in the direction of the desire, not getting all the way to it, because you never do. You can't get all the way to your desire, because as soon as you start approaching it, it becomes more and more and more and more and more. So your desire keeps getting out ahead of you. It's out ahead of you. It's out ahead of you. It will always be vibrationally out ahead of you. So then we began talking about getting into the vortex, and this is when you began to really start to understand. When we began explaining to you that what's in your vibrational reality is speaking to you. It has already become the thing that you ask it to be, and it will tell you where it is and how to find it if you are paying attention. In other words, it's the consciousness of your inner being. It's the consciousness of what you want to call God. It's the consciousness of the becoming that you've set into motion. And that's the main event that you're reaching for. It's not the specifics of this creation or that one. It's the art of creating. It's the understanding that all things are possible. It's the becoming the creation, because you know you're doing the creating. There's a difference between the joys in the journey and what we're saying to you here. It's that hands-on, moment by moment recognition of the improvement in your vibration, which is allowing the revelation that has been revealed to you at all times to be realized by you. So it's the realization in the moment, which is what we were reaching for earlier in the conversation today when someone was talking about manifestation or manifesting. Realization of who I am. Realization of not just the potential, but the already realized realization of who I am. So now let's step back just a little bit and see if we can help you to see this in the way that we see it. You were source energy. We still are. You came into your body. We're still source energy. So are you. You just don't know it, and we do. You bang around and ask for more. You cause source energy to be more. Source energy gets all revved up about what you have become, all excited about what you have created. We're all out ahead of all of that. You're used to calling past, present, and future past manifestations, present stuff I can see, and future stuff that's still coming. We call it all present tense, because anything that's active now is present tense. So if we can talk you into caring about one thing and one thing only in your present tense, which is right now where all of your power is, if you can sync up with your awareness of your physical world through the perspective of your source, you've blended the whole of yourself. And now, maybe for the first time, you are the creator that you were born to be. Because not one of you said, I'm going into a body, but I'm going to ignore who I really am. I'm going into a physical body to test myself and to prove worthiness, which is the way most religions in a bogus way tell the story, you see. For example, we think you're ready for this. Esther found this beautiful house. We were talking about it earlier. And her enthusiasm for it was indescribable and illogical, because it was in a place that she hardly ever went, in a place that she really didn't know she even wanted to be. And it's really big and unnecessary in almost every way, and a sort of work of art, something that in generations to come will stand there and bring pleasure to people. So Esther didn't realize it at the time, but she and Jerry had actually stood in that house when it was in its early framing stages in 1980. She didn't recall that. And so she didn't understand her reference point with it. She didn't understand that through her relationship with this structure, that she was going to come to understand how past, present, and future are all really all happening at the same moment. She didn't understand then, she does now, that all the people who had been involved in the dreaming of that house were, even though they are now non-physically focused, they're still dreaming about it. And even more important, she didn't understand that all the people in all of the generations yet to come are calling it through her too. She didn't understand her place in history in the house. All she understood was her ravenous impulse to be a part of it. But she couldn't possibly see the big picture of it. You see what we're getting at? She didn't know it would breathe life into her. So what we're getting at here, and we know we're out there, and we also know you're with us. The things that you think you're dreaming about creating, you are, and they matter. But you've got bigger dreams than you know, the ingredients of which are in your vibrational reality. And there are generations that preceded you, many generations before you, that were all dreaming about you even before you were born and calling you to this powerful now. There is an energy of creation that this leading edge is manifesting, that is supported by such love and knowledge and desire and dreaming. And you all get to be the benefactors of all of that momentum, at the same time that you're adding momentum to what will come next. In other words, this is this perpetual eternity of which we are all a part. And until you find your right place within it, you don't have as much fun as you're supposed to be having. As long as you think that you're just here in a comparative way, measuring yourself against other humans, then while you're living a so-so life and you're getting the job done and you can't get it wrong, it's nothing like you intended as you decided to dive in and be part of this eternal big picture that has the potential of giving you satisfaction in all moments of all days. Are you sort of kind of getting what we're talking about?